Hello everyone and welcome back to this FM17 experiment where we take a look at what would happen if you swapped the Premier League with the Vanarama National League South. Now, last time out, if you missed it, we did go forward 1 year in time, so you should go and check that out if you haven't already. We did see Oxford City become the champions of England in the last episode. It'll be interesting to see how they do the next season because obviously they will have a decent amount of cash in the bank. If we have a quick look at their finances, you'll see they've got, is that over 100 million in there, I think? £104 million cash in the bank ready to spend this summer. Obviously, their reputation is not that high, though, so they won't be able to bring in the best quality players, but they will be able to invest in their facilities and build a future at the club with that money. The likes of Hungerford, Poole and Truro, the unfortunate ones to get relegated, which means they will slip down the pyramid. And if we have a quick look at the Vanarama National League South, we will see the holders are currently Chelsea. Manchester City also went up in the playoffs. Despite only finishing 5th in the league, Liverpool only missing out by 2 points, so we can expect to see them rocket up the league. And Middlesbrough were also relegated 4 points from safety. They are going to drop out of the game completely because I don't have any lower leagues loaded up than this one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to them if and when they come back into football. So let's go forward a year and let's see what has happened since. Well, we are now a year into the future, and some very interesting things have happened that I've already picked up. Now, the main thing in the Vanarama National League South is that Arsenal have won the league, Liverpool finishing just behind them. Second time they finished just outside of that top position. You have to expect they will do it eventually. Spurs winning the playoff, though, managing to go up with Arsenal into the Vanarama National League. And Liverpool also qualified for Europe, so you've got to expect that they won at the FA Cup or a similar tournament. But Liverpool seem to be handling all of this reasonably well. Now, you'll notice there's an awful lot of new teams in here. Given only Middlesbrough got relegated, that is a little bit unusual. But you can see what happened. If we go up one league, Sunderland got thrown into the National League North, as did Stoke. I'm not sure what has triggered this in the game, but you can see that they've shifted them into the Vanarama National League North. Obviously, they're both very northern teams, so they must have, in the promotion and relegation decisions, decided these two teams need to be put into their own league, and they've both gone up as a result of that, bypassing the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal in the other league. Which is a little bit unusual. I did not expect anything like that to happen. But if we have a look at the transfers of this window, you'll see that Arsenal have sold Alexis Sanchez to PSG for only up to £34 million, which is an absolute steal. Firmino also leaving Liverpool. Idrissa Gueye going, Philippe Coutinho leaving Liverpool as well. Dele Alli going to Newcastle. I would love that to happen in real life. Harry Kane went to Manchester City. Callum Wilson also going to Newcastle, who are picking up the players now that they are probably the biggest club in England. But Spurs losing 5 big players there. Harry Kane, Wanyama and Alderweireld going. Riyad Mahrez going to China. Jordan Henderson moving to Manchester City. Daley Blind also going. Dyer going. Divock Origi moving to Inter Milan. Mangala's gone as well, but he's always been transfer listed. But a lot of big players leaving, the likes of Jesse Lingard as well, leaving United for Eastbourne Borough. That is a purchase and a half from Eastbourne Borough. They're in the Premier League, but they have really done well to get him. Again, they signed Jack Cork as well, so Eastbourne Borough are really splashing the cash at the moment, getting in the best players they can. So very interesting, the transfers there. If we go down a league, or up a league rather, to the Vanarama National League North and just have a quick look at any transfers that went on here. You can see Stoke selling an awful lot of players. Shaqiri, Arnautovic, Peters, Woolshide, Muniesa, Cameron, Shenton. Sunderland also letting a few players go, so they are starting to see players want to leave the clubs at this point. And in the Vanarama National League, obviously 2 teams did get promoted to this last season. If we have a look at the league table, you'll see Manchester City won the league by 1 point over Chelsea, but Chelsea pretty much unopposed managed to go up through the playoffs, beating Gateshead at Wembley. So these two are now back in the Football League proper. They will both be in League 2 next season. But are they holding on to their best players? If we have a look, Kevin De Bruyne has gone to Real Madrid for nearly 66 million. Harry Kane, who Manchester City purchased earlier this season, has now gone to Chelsea, which is funny that he's now had 3 clubs in 1 year. Azpilicueta also leaving for Bayern. Coutinho's in there because Manchester City signing 4 players from the lower leagues there. Coutinho, Harry Kane, Henderson and Eric Dyer. Baker and Aina both went to Eastbourne Borough, who are really, really splashing the cash. But so many City and Chelsea players leaving, especially at Chelsea. Chalobah, Hector, Callas, Piazon, Remy and Atsu all going to other clubs. So there is that exodus starting to happen, especially in the fringe players, but it will start to happen more and more with the first team players, I think, as it takes them longer to get up the leagues. If we have a look at Manchester City's reputation, it's still up at nearly 10,000. They are still really benefiting from their position. But the main thing now is to have a look at the Premier Division and see what has gone on here. It looks like Newcastle are the Premier League champions. That's what I like to see. They have managed to finish 7 points above Norwich, who finished above Barnsley as well. But Eastbourne Borough nearly matched Barnsley for points. Eastbourne Borough forcing their way into the Champions League. Last year's champions Oxford City falling all the way down to 14th, but Eastbourne Borough have absolutely gone for it. They've got a lot of money apparently, £276 million valuation. If we have a look at their club details, their reputation's going up as well, but a lot of cash still in the bank despite all of their transfers, and their transfer history has been pretty active. Spent £56 million on players, bringing them in, the likes of Jesse Lingard coming into the club. If we sort them by fee, you'll see that Lewis Baker and Aina are the big players to come in, but they've helped them keep up with a club like Barnsley, who were last season about 5 leagues above them. But that is really impressive from Eastbourne Borough, finishing 40 points above Maidenhead. If we have a look at the transfer business of the league this season, obviously Newcastle at the top, bringing in Dele Alli and Callum Wilson, which we'd already seen. But Eastbourne Borough have 5 or 6 of the next sort of 10 transfers. Of the top 10, they've got about 6 of the top 10 transfers. Kieran Trippier also going to Newcastle. And otherwise, Norwich really far down. They're not really spending any money whatsoever. Barnsley have spent virtually nothing and still managed to qualify for the Champions League. So it'll be interesting to see how Newcastle do in the Champions League next season as well. And also how Eastbourne Borough get on. If we drop down into the Championship, just to have a quick look at how the teams that got relegated got on, and as you can see, they are falling out of the football pyramid remarkably quickly. Poole getting just 3 points on their way down, but they're still going to be rich. That's the thing. Their general information still £108 million in the bank, pretty much for the pool, even though they only got 3 points this season. So it'll be interesting to see at what point they level out. Obviously, they'll keep dropping down for now, but they might be able to stabilise themselves eventually. Now, if we go back to the top and have a look at Oxford City and their competition performances, it'll just show us how the biggest competitions actually went, if I can manage to click it. You can see the FA Cup was won by Liverpool. They beat Norwich in the final, which is quite interesting. So Liverpool are in the Europa League now as a result of doing that. The EFL Cup won by Norwich. Obviously that place will go to a Premier League team because they were already in the Champions League, but they've done well to win the EFL Cup. If we look at who they beat in the final, they beat MK Dons in the final. So it looks like the big clubs are not making it as far. They aren't in the semi. Oh, they're not in the EFL Cup. That's why. None of them are in there. Obviously Chelsea and Manchester City will be in there next season, but right now there are no big teams in the EFL Cup. And the English Community Shield was won by Chelsea, a 2-0 victory over the Premier League champions. An interesting one, that one. I'm surprised it was only 2-0 to be fair, but Chelsea managing to win the Community Shield. If we have a look at the Champions League, we can see that it is currently held by Dortmund. Now, can we go back in time? I think that because we're already a bit too far ahead, it won't show us the performances of last season. But they beat Real Madrid in the final. If we drop down to the Euro Cup, that was won by Leverkusen over Napoli. If we have a look at the stages, the round will be drawn next time. Actually, we can drop back a season, can't we? So if we have a look at the semis in this one, obviously no English clubs in there. Quarterfinals, Chelsea managed to make it to the quarterfinals before being beaten by Valencia. The second knockout round, Aston Villa managed to make it into that stage. And in the first knockout round, no major English teams in there that I can see, just Chelsea and Aston Villa. So let's have a look at the Champions League actually. If we can drop back a year, we can take a look at what happened and how far the English teams got on. Obviously, some of them did go in to the group stage, the likes of Oxford. And if we scroll down, still no English teams in there. There they are. They finished rock bottom, 0 points, minus 20 goal difference. Not a big surprise, that one. Gosport also getting 0 points, but minus 23 goal difference. Those were the only 2 English teams to actually make it into... Oh no, Welling as well finished with minus 19. So they had the best performance of any of the teams in the Champions League group stages. None of them getting any points. But if we have a look at the third qualifying phase, not anybody in there. In the playoff, it was Eastbourne who got through, and they were beaten 5-0 by Wolfsburg. But Eastbourne in the Champions League again might be able to do something a bit special next season. We'll just have to keep our eye on that. But I think actually, I know I was planning to go 2 years in the future, but there's so much to take a look at each time that I don't think I'm going to have time to go forward another season at the moment. I am interested in the facilities again. If we have a quick look at the stadiums of the Premier League, you can see that Gosport and Whitehawk now playing at the American Express Stadium, Brighton's Stadium, Norwich are up there, Selhurst Park still hosting 5 teams, the Medeski still have 3, and some of these bottom clubs have now renovated their stadiums to 12,500 capacity. Eastbourne Borough, another one of those to do that. So that's interesting that they are starting to expand some of their stadiums, and it'll be interesting as they get more money whether they will start to build new stadiums as well. And also the English Premier Division has now dropped down to 3rd in the rankings, so they could start to lose Champions League places if they don't progress in Europe. But that is going to be it for this part. If you've enjoyed it, drop a like on the video. Let me know in the comments if you want me to keep going forward in time. I'll try and get through 2 years if we can. Obviously, the further we go forward, the more we'll know exactly what is going to happen each time. And subscribe to the channel if you want to see how this develops going forward. But until next time, see ya!